It's funny how we can spend so much time just staring at the center stage, completely mesmerized by the main event, that we totally miss the real drama unfolding right off in the wings.
Oh, absolutely. The cameras flashed, the crowd froze. Inside Madison Square Garden, 1,000 guests were captivated by a woodland wonderland. But outside those doors, a single Instagram notification was about to steal the show.
Wow.
And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Maren Morris goes public with new romance.
Welcome to StarScope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is pulling from a really fascinating stack of sources. We're looking at reporting from Us Weekly, Extra TV, Country Court, and, several other outlets.
Right. And our mission for you today is basically synthesizing all these reports to uncover the timeline, the intense drama, and the deeply rooted shared history behind country music's most talked about new couple.
Yeah, and to really understand the magnitude of where we are right now, we have to drop you directly into the event of the year.
It really is the only place to begin, honestly.
It is. Let's set the physical scene for you because the environment plays a huge role in how this story broke. So it's Friday, July 3, 2026.
Okay.
The location is Madison Square Garden in New York City. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are finally tying the knot.
I mean, finally, right?
Exactly. And when we talk about this event, Extra TV and Us Weekly are describing a scale of opulence that is genuinely hard to wrap your head around. They invited around 1,000 guests, and they essentially terraformed the arena.
Wait, terraformed?
Yeah. Attendees described it as a garden inside the garden. They brought in massive, full-sized living trees.
Oh my gosh.
They built this oversized gazebo as the centerpiece of the room and dotted this incredibly lush greenery with luxury orange armchairs.
That is just insane. And the details they poured into this are staggering. I read the guests were giving custom white handkerchiefs that were embroidered with a double T monogram, which perfectly matched the invitation.
Naturally.
Right. And the reception didn't just have a wedding band. It featured live, full-scale performances by Stevie Nicks and Paul McCartney.
Just casual wedding singers.
Just totally casual. And my favorite detail, instead of a standard wedding favor like, a personalized candle or whatever, there was a luxury raffle for the guests. They were giving away Chanel saddlebags, Dior Cartier watches.
Wow. It's the absolute definition of a spectacle. You have the peak of the entertainment industry, the most powerful people in music and sports, all gathered in one single room.
Exactly.
And Maren Morris is right there in the mix, hanging out with country music royalty. She's photographed with Kelsea, Ballerini, Miranda, Lambert, and, members of Little Big Town.
And that contrast is what makes the PR strategy of this weekend so brilliant, I think. You have this massive, incredibly public spectacle that the entire world is already looking at.
Right. It provides the perfect cover and simultaneously the perfect amplifier.
Yes, because Maren posts a photo dump on Instagram with the caption, "A time was had," which on the surface, that's a perfectly standard celebrity post-event recap.
Right. Nothing suspicious there.
But the second photo in her carousel is this incredibly cozy, cuddled-up shot of her with her arm around Cassadee Pope.
And for those who might not know, Cassadee is the former lead singer of the pop-punk band Hey Monday and the Season 3 winner of The Voice.
Exactly. So that photo caught people's attention.
Yeah.
But then Cassadee took to her own Instagram story. And that is where the narrative completely shifted gears.
Yeah, that is where we cross the line from a friendly photo into what the internet calls a hard launch.
Oh, absolutely. And for anyone who isn't fluent in Gen Z internet slang, a soft launch is when a celebrity posts a cryptic photo, maybe like 2 coffee cups on a table or a mystery hand resting on a steering wheel. It's designed to spark rumors.
Right, but a hard launch leaves absolutely zero room for ambiguity. Cassadee didn't just post a friendly selfie.
No, she did not.
She posted a close-up, highly intimate shot of the two of them actively kissing. Her hands are quite literally wrapped around Maren's face.
And the caption Cassadee wrote over this photo, she said, "She won't go out with you because she's out with me. Silly," at Maren Morris.
It is a definitive statement. When a public figure uses a cultural monolith like the Swift-Kelce wedding to broadcast a message that loud, it is deeply intentional.
Well, 100%.
They knew exactly how many eyeballs would be refreshing social media that weekend. But of course, the internet immediately started analyzing the motives.
Which, brings up a fair point because we do have to play the skeptic for a second. Could this just be two close friends having fun and intentionally baiting the internet?
I mean, it's possible.
We've seen celebrities lean into these kinds of playful, provocative narratives before just to stir the pot. After all, Maren recently announced she's taking a major step back. She said she's taking a break from touring after her Dreamgirl tour wraps up in August.
Yeah, she told the press she just wants to hang out with her son and get back in the studio.
Plus, she's been incredibly vocal recently about her dating standards. Like, she explicitly stated that she is really happy with the peaceful life she's built and that any future partner would have to be a, quote, spectacularly impressive individual to convince her to add them to it.
Wow, that's a high bar.
So we have to ask you, is this just a fun, rebellious weekend in New York, or is this the genuine hard launch of a relationship?
That is the core question. And you can't answer it just by looking at a single weekend in 2026. Because wait till you hear what came next.
Oh, here we go.
This romance, this deep bond, wasn't just born overnight over champagne at Madison Square Garden. It was forged in the fire of one of country music's biggest and most highly controversial public feuds.
And real quick, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive. Because to really understand the gravity of that kissing photo, we have to pull back the curtain on the environment these two women survived together.
Yeah, to understand their current dynamic, you have to look at the mechanics of the country music industry itself. Historically, it is an institution that heavily rewards tradition, conformity, and just keeping your head down.
Right.
Stepping out of line, especially on a political or cultural issue, is a massive career risk.
It really is. So, if we look back at the fall of 2022, a major cultural flashpoint emerged, and we are going to impartially report on how this unfolded based on the coverage from Country Court and other outlets.
Exactly, just looking at the facts.
Right. So, Jason Aldean's wife, Brittany, made public comments regarding her tomboy phase and transgender youth. In response, Maren Morris and Cassadee Pope publicly teamed up to criticize those statements.
And the result was a massive, highly publicized fallout that essentially fractured the country music community, forcing fans, media, and artists to take sides.
The media storm was immediate and fierce. It escalated way beyond Nashville gossip.
Yeah, Fox News host Tucker Carlson actually brought the situation onto his primetime broadcast. During that segment, he explicitly labeled Maren a lunatic country music person.
Which is just wild to see on a national broadcast.
Totally. And the personal toll this took on Maren was devastating. According to the reporting, Maren and her family received severe death threats over the situation.
Wait, actual death threats?
Yes. It evolved from an internet disagreement into a genuine, terrifying safety concern for her family.
But, instead of retreating and offering a PR-sanctioned apology, Maren did something brilliant. She took that exact insult, lunatic country music person, printed it on a T-shirt, and sold it to her fans.
That is such a power move.
Right. And she ended up raising over $100,000 for trans youth organizations. It was a massive triumph, but it came at a steep cost.
Yeah, because the environment within the industry she had worked so hard to conquer had become, in her own words, deeply toxic for her.
It entirely rewrote her relationship with the country music establishment. The tension was so palpable that she felt completely alienated heading into the 2022 CMA Awards.
Even though she was nominated for Album of the Year, right?
Exactly. Despite that, she chose to skip the red carpet entirely to avoid the press and the friction. When she finally did walk into the arena, she made a very pointed, theatrical entrance to the tune of Taylor Swift's song Karma.
Oh, I remember that. She was drawing a definitive boundary between herself and the institution.
And here is the crucial connection we want you to focus on. Through all of that intense industry backlash, through the terrifying death threats, through the profound isolation of distancing herself from the country music institution, Cassadee Pope was right there.
Yes, she was.
She was standing shoulder to shoulder with Maren in the trenches of that public relations war.
And we talk so much about the psychology of shared trauma and how it acts as an incredibly powerful bonding agent. When you're going through something that isolating, where you feel like an entire industry is turning its back on you, the person who stands by your side doesn't just remain a friend.
Right. They become your absolute rock.
Exactly. They weren't just passing acquaintances smiling at award shows. They were allies who took a highly publicized risk together.
Yeah.
That shared history provides so much vital context. When Maren talks about needing a, quote, spectacularly impressive individual, it makes sense that she would look towards someone whose loyalty and bravery have already been tested under extreme pressure.
It makes total sense. And later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist in Maren's personal life that nobody saw coming. A twist that completely rewrote her future and set the stage for everything happening right now in New York.
Because the 2022 feud wasn't the only crucible Maren was walking through. While she was fighting this incredibly public war, her private life was simultaneously undergoing a massive upheaval.
Yeah, to understand where she is today, we have to look at what was happening behind closed doors. What fascinates me is how often a public crisis masks a private one.
So true.
Let's look at the timeline of Maren's personal life during this era. In 2018, she married fellow country star Ryan Hurd. They were this beloved, seemingly perfect country music power couple.
They actually met years earlier, back in 2013, during a writing session for a Tim McGraw song.
Right, a real Nashville romance. But the narrative shifted in March of 2020 when they welcomed their son, Hayes.
And Us Weekly detailed that the birth was highly traumatic. Maren had to undergo an emergency C-section after enduring 30 hours of labor.
30 hours, that is just brutal.
Yeah, and the emotional aftermath was just as challenging. Maren was diagnosed with severe postpartum depression. She has spoken incredibly candidly about that era, describing feelings of being useless and experiencing severe identity crises.
Wow.
She noted that she felt like she lost sight of taking care of herself because she was so accustomed to being the boss, the one taking care of everyone else on the road.
That is a staggering amount of weight for one person to carry. You compound the physical trauma of a difficult birth, the chemical and emotional toll of postpartum depression, and the massive public feud we just discussed. It's a pressure cooker.
It really is.
Ultimately, the marriage couldn't survive the weight of it all. In October 2023, Maren filed for divorce from Ryan Hurd, and it was finalized in January of 2024.
But the reports indicate it was an amicable split, right?
Yes, very much so. They reached a settlement where they share custody of Hayes, and they actually live just 5 minutes apart in Nashville, specifically so they can co-parent effectively. They even still regularly meet for dinner.
That's great, but even an amicable divorce is a massive life upheaval.
Oh, definitely. Which brings us to a major defining turning point. June 9, 2024, it's Pride Month. Maren takes to Instagram to officially come out as bisexual.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah, she posts photos from a tour stop in Phoenix holding a pride flag, and she writes, "Happy to be the B in LGBTQ plus Happy Pride."
What a profound moment of liberation. After years of carrying so much heaviness and conforming to expectations, she is finally exhaling.
Yeah, but her re-entry into the dating world was not a smooth road. Maren later revealed in a TikTok video that her first experience dating a woman after her divorce was actually quite harrowing.
Really? What happened?
She explained she was seeing someone briefly, trying to keep things casual, but within 3 weeks, it completely unraveled. She described the brief relationship as involving lies, threats to her reputation, and what she called borderline extortion.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she admitted it was incredibly depressing for that to be her first experience navigating her new identity.
That is awful. And if we take that a step further, it points us directly back to Cassadee Pope. Think about the psychology here.
Okay, let's hear it.
After a dating experience characterized by distrust and extortion with a near stranger, how much more appealing is it to explore a relationship with someone you already know deeply?
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. Someone who has already proven their absolute loyalty when the chips were down. For Maren, Cassadee doesn't just represent a romantic interest. She represents safety, a shared history, and a mutual understanding of the pressures of fame.
Exactly. And this is where I want to introduce a specific analogy for you, because Maren actually handed us the blueprint for her transformation. In August 2024, she released an EP, cleverly and I think very purposefully, titled Intermission.
Ah, I love that title.
Right. If we think of her life and her career like a stage play, her traditional country music era, her time trying to fit into that Nashville mold, and her marriage, that was Act 1. The Intermission EP was her emotional break.
Okay, I see where we're going.
But an intermission isn't just a pause for the audience to go to the lobby.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. What actually happens during an intermission?
Well, the house lights go down, the theater goes pitch black, and the stage crew frantically changes the entire set. It looks quiet to the outside world, but behind the curtain, everything is being dismantled and rebuilt. When the curtain rises again for Act 2, the audience finds themselves in a completely different world.
And the track list on that EP supports that metaphor perfectly. The songs directly address that messy, behind-the-scenes transition.
Yes, if you look at the lead single, Cut, which features Julia Michaels, Maren explained that the song is about holding yourself together during the day.
Like putting on a brave face.
Exactly. It's about looking well-rested, not canceling plans, presenting this perfect facade of the world. But then at night, the mask slips. You let yourself fall apart just to let the steam out of the kettle.
Wow.
That is the sound of someone exhausted by playing their role in Act 1. And then you have tracks like Push Me Over, which reviewers pointed to as a direct reflection of her sexual awakening and coming out.
She's actively processing the heartbreak of her divorce while simultaneously discovering this entirely new side of herself.
Exactly. So, if the EP was the intermission, changing the sets in the dark, this hard launch with Cassadee at Madison Square Garden, the curtain is officially rising on Act 2.
Act 2 is starting, and the setting of the play might be changing entirely. Let's bring this all the way back to the present day. We discussed Cassadee's Instagram story with the kissing photo in New York, but there was another post from that weekend that we need to look at very closely.
Right. Recently, Cassadee actually left Nashville. She moved to New York City to pursue acting and recently starred in the wildly popular off-Broadway hit Titanic.
Which is amazing, by the way.
So good. But during that wedding weekend, she posted a shot from a dinner with Maren, and the caption read, "Trying to get Brib to move here, everyone help."
And hey, stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in the ever-evolving world of pop culture. Because that single sentence, "trying to get Brib to move here," has massive implications for Maren's future.
It really does. So what does this all mean for you to consider as we watch this play out? We have to wonder, is Maren actually going to leave Nashville behind?
That would be huge.
Think about the logistics we just unpacked. She currently lives just 5 minutes from her ex-husband, Ryan Hurd, specifically so they can co-parent their 6-year-old son, Hayes.
Right.
Uprooting her life and her son to move to the Big Apple for a new romance with Cassadee would mean completely severing her geographic ties to her past.
Yeah, it would mean leaving the city that built her career, the city where she fought her biggest battles, and the convenient co-parenting structure she has built.
It's a massive leap into the unknown, the ultimate commitment to her Act 2. The question is she ready to take it?
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.